Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode on the Healing Family Wounds magazine. My name is Gladys Beri and I am your editor-in-chief. Today we're highlighting one of the cultural organizations that is uniting Africans in the diaspora, called One Tikar One People. Help me welcome the Royal Prince himself of the One Tikar One People Kingdom. Hail the Royal Prince of One Tikar Kingdom.
Wow.
Amen.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Prince himself, and thank you for granting us an audience in your palace.
Thank you, Gladys. Thank you. It's a pleasure having you in this royal palace of the One Tikar One People Kingdom, One Tikar One People family. My name is Prince Justin Delaure Wanda. We are here to celebrate the major event who will be coming very, very soon on the weekend of September the 12th, 13 and 14 here in Minnesota. This is like 4 years in a row that we have been doing this festival, and the goal of this festival is to bring all the African people living in the diaspora and to serve as a bridge to reach out to our brother and sister, African American who was born here, to tell them how powerful and where we are coming from. Because as we say, if you don't know where you came from, you cannot know where you are going. So the fact that we are here is to serve as a bridge to let the people know about the powerful culture, the richness of our culture, and then to let them celebrate it, and then for us to understand that when we get together, we are so powerful. When we work together, nobody can stop us. And the future of the world, we are blessed that God make it that the future of the world is the continent of Africa. So we have an obligation to work as one big, strong family, where the poor reach out to the rich, where the intellectual reach out to the one who have not been to school, because it's by bringing all this together that we could make Africa be the wonderful continent that the Creator, decides when He'll build this world that we will be.
Exciting, wonderful, powerful introduction. Thank you so much. You shared a lot of information just in that introduction. And give us permission to dial back a little bit. Minnesota African Cultural Festival will be coming up in September 12, 13 and 14, as you have shared. Help our viewers to understand the vision of One Tikar. Why are we coming together?
15 years ago, we have a dream. And then this dream was a simple dream. It was a dream to reach out to our brother and sister who came here first as slaves 1,000 years ago. And then we realized that most of them really did not know much about the wonderful, powerful continent of Africa. And for some of us, we were blessed to be born in the motherland, in the African continent. We feel like we have an obligation to reach out to them, to explain to them how things are working back there in the Africa, and then to also learn from them, and then to see how we could empower each other in order to make this place a better place to live for our future generation who are coming. So we decide that we are going to work to serve as a bridge to work with our brother and sister born in America, and then to also show them the road, how to go back and reconnect with the ancestor, reconnect with their culture, learn about the language, learn about the civilization, because as you all know, there's something very, very important, and then the thing which is important is the love that we have in Africa. As we put it in Africa, a child in Africa doesn't belong to one person. A child in Africa belongs to the whole village. So we decide to bring that vision of the African village back here in America, so we could all work as one strong big community. So if you are from Liberia, if you are from Congo, if you are from Somalia, if you are from Kenya, if you are from Ethiopia, if you are from Nigeria, if you are from Chad, if you are from Egypt, there's one thing that you should know: you are African. As an African, we have the obligation to look after each other, to work together, and then to make us be the brightest people that we could be, and then the shining people that we could be, so we could deliver our own message to the world, and then a message of love, a message of richness, a message of peace, because that's the thing that we are all about. We are all about being one. That's why One Tikar, One People, One Love. It's all about the unity of all African countries. It's all about the love of the African born in Africa and then the African born in the United States, because by the end of the day, we are all one. And then by working as one, we could also make Africa to be great. So that's the way that we look at it, that we look like we have, in this 21st century, we have an obligation to be the ambassador of our own culture, to be the ambassador of the whole continent of Africa, to see that it doesn't matter where you were born in Africa, you should know that there's just one Africa. There's not 10,000 Africa. We may be 54 countries in Africa, but by the end of the day, when you see the way that we look, when you see the way that we love each other, when you see our food, when you see our culture, when you see our history, the bottom line is that we are one. And then it's that message that we are bringing back here to our brother and sister born and living in America, that we should all work together. We should all see how we could build something strong that generation after generation, people will remember, and then they will tell to themselves that, oh, the people who came before us, at least they have some great idea. They tried something. So it's the baton that we are giving to the new generation to never forget where they came from. Because, you know, we are blessed. My 3 children were all born here in America. And then the only fact that they know that their father and their mother came from the royal family is a motivation for them to keep that heritage going, you know, to be able to make sure that whenever they go, they are speaking with one strong voice, and then they are proud of who they are. And then this is very, very important, because the way that the world is going today, some of the problems that we are having is that some people do not really understand where they came from. So there's that vacuum. And then when you have that vacuum, it's sometimes so difficult for the new generation to connect. As we are trying to do, we are trying to empower them through the history, through the language, through the culture, through some of the things that we consider that only Africa people could offer. As I mentioned before, our love. When one person succeeds in Africa, it's not just that person. It's the whole continent of Africa will succeed. So we should be proud of that. And then that's the message that we want to give to the world, that we are a strong, strong family. And then the bonds who link us together is a very, very strong bond.
All hail the royal prince of the Tikari kingdom. Wow! The royal prince, we cannot thank you enough for delivering this royal address, especially to our youth. The reason that your address is important is because, as you shared correctly, our children born here live in a context where being African means that they are inferior. So it is important for our children, our youth, to identify themselves with pride. So understanding the socio-cultural context in which we are raising our youth, we are taught in this context about individuality, which is a great concept. However, the African culture raises us in a communal environment with a communal culture, which means we come together. We are stronger together. Understanding this, why is it important for our youth to attend the Minnesota African Cultural Festival?
The Minnesota African Cultural Festival is a major event taking place almost every year. And then this event takes place during the summer, because we realize that during the summer, we are blessed that a lot of our children, most of them are out of school. So this gives us the chance and the opportunity to bring all of them together. First, to get to know each other. That's very, very important, because we live in the community that people really doesn't have a bond, a connection. So by bringing them together, they have a chance. The son or the girls who is born in Angola has a chance to know the one who is born in Zimbabwe. And then by looking at the one who is born in Zimbabwe, the one in Angola could say, we do have something in common. We eat the same food. We may call it different, but it's the same way that my mother cooked it. I know that. Is that what you eat at your place? Is that corn? Yes. Because the same ingredient that we use to cook may differ from one country to another country. But the bottom line is that it brings us back to thousands and thousands of years ago, bringing us back to the way that our ancestors built the strength that they have today. That by sharing the food with them is something important. By sharing the history with them is something very, very important. Because there's one thing who we distinguish them to the community where they live is something which is unique. And then that thing which is unique is something coming from the continent of Africa. So they have to know that. They have to master it. They have to be able to say, hey, I may have been born here, but I know one thing. I know that the highest mountain in Africa is Mount Kilimanjaro, for example. And then the son who's going to school with him or her here in the United States may be surprised. How do you learn about the Kilimanjaro mountain? He say, yes, because that's where my ancestor came from. Kilimanjaro is in Kenya, is the highest mountain in Africa. And then I've heard a lot of nice and good stories. So this opportunity that we are giving to the population, to the people of the diaspora, to get to know each other, to enjoy 3 days of great celebration, enjoying the food, enjoying the music, enjoying the story, enjoying a lot of different speakers who will be coming there to share their own personal experience, living here in America, dancing in African culture, moving in African way, learning how to work together, look in one direction. So this is what this event is so wonderful, because it gives also the opportunity for our brother and sister who are here, who are small business, to come and showcase what they have. Because, okay, you may see the way that I'm dressed, you may see that the way that the princess is dressed, you may love that dress, but you may not know where to go and to start to get that. So this opportunity, this event, this African Festival Culture, was also linked to something very, very special with the African Fashion Show. It's something that is unique in Minnesota. We start here in Minnesota, but our goal is to move it from one state to another state. That's why we start everything here. So these are unique opportunity for you if you are a vendor. If you are a volunteer, what do you have to come as a volunteer? By coming as a volunteer is to show that you are proud, that you are happy to contribute to the emancipation and then to the progress of the continent of Africa and to the culture of Africa. So we will need volunteers. Volunteers should be coming. You should not stay that day at home, because this is going to be a great opportunity for you to come and meet very, very distinguished people. Sometimes we have prince, we have king that we invite from all over Africa who come here. This may give you a chance for you to come and have a one-on-one conversation with a king. The king may be from Ghana, the king may be from South Africa, the king may be from Nigeria, the king may be from Cameroon. So do you see how powerful it will be that your children who's coming to that event go back next year in school and say, this is me with the king of Zimbabwe. You know, that's going to make a lot of difference in the way that that child will be growing up, because that child will be growing up with a sense of pride. And then it's very, very important for our children here to love and then to be proud of who they are. So this event that you should mark your calendar, September 12, September 13, September 14, be here in the great state of Minnesota. Come and enjoy with the family of the diaspora, the family of African American, the family of African who are here. Come and enjoy the food, enjoy the dance, you know, enjoy all the major events that we will be putting together to make you be so happy of being connected to the motherland continent of Africa.
Absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for speaking with pride to our young ones. One last question, and then we will look forward to attending the festival. I just wanted to highlight the art, African art, that is displayed usually at the festival. And sometimes we look at this art and we do not understand the history or the story, why it is important that we preserve our art as a part of our culture, which I see some displayed here. And a lot of times our youth do not know what the meaning behind the art, and the adults, African adults in the diaspora, also might have forgotten about our art and why it is important for us to know and understand our art. For example, I see Afoakom here. Yes. Can you speak to us, tell us the story of Afoakom for our youth who do not know, and to remind the people of Africa how their art identifies with them?
Thank you, Princess. It's very, very important for the young generation to understand the importance of some of the artifacts that we have. They should understand that African countries, most of them were colonized. And then when the colonizer walked in the continent Africa, one of the things they realized were how advanced we were, our ancestors. Even though they pretend that we were not educated, quote to quote, that they were too advanced than us, but that was a lie. The reason is that they appreciate the beauty of our artifacts. Just to give you an example, if I could call it that way, the camera was not invented in the African continent. But because the people living in Africa were so smart and so talented, in order to help one generation to another generation to keep the facial, the picture of the deceased, the one who was no longer with us, what they were doing, they were using arts to immortalize those people. So when you see in some of those royal kingdoms, you may go back to 300 years ago, and then the person will tell you that, you see that one? That's the great grandfather founder of this kingdom. That's just how it looked like. So they use art as a way to immortalize the people who are no longer with us. So some of the picture, some of the art that you may see how detailed they are. That's one of the things that they have, our new generation should understand about the importance of arts. And this was so important that you have a lot of people, you may have learned in school, people that they call Picasso. Picasso went back to Africa to learn about the art, the richness of our arts. So they learned it. They went back there to learn, to observe how people go about building all those arts. And to make story short, when the slave, if you could call them that way, that means our ancestors were bought and brought back in the Western world, they took with them some very, very, very important pieces who has to do with arts. Do you know the drums? Yes. They took the drums from Africa to the Western world. And then the reason that they took the drums with them was because the drums was the most advanced means of communication that they have at that time. The way that they were playing the drums could send a set of different messages to the population. There was message of sadness, there was message of happiness. So it was very, very important that they traveled from the continent of Africa to the Western world, and then even when they were working in the plantation, they have a way to communicate in the way that the master could not understand. So they will beat the drums in a different way. That message may be for the people who understand that let us meet at 6 o'clock when the sun goes down to see how we are going to plan how to escape from this place. So that's why when the master, the colonizer, realized that drums may have something that they could not understand, one of the things that they did was they did not want no more drums. But they were not smart enough because they took the drums that our ancestors brought with them to Africa, but it did not stop the one who was in the plantation to cut the trees, create a hole in the trees, use the skin of the goat and build new drums. So it's just to tell you how important was our culture. And then when we go back to something very, very popular and very, very unique is the Afro-Akom. Afro-Akom came from a specific village in the Central West Africa, the country called Cameroon. And then this species was brought back here many, many, many years in United States of America, in New York. And then what happened is that this species was so powerful that years after years, they realized that there were things who was not working right in the village. It was like in the village, in the womb area in Cameroon, the Bamenda area in Cameroon. So they realized that the Afro-Akom actually is a tribe there. They realized that there were things who was not going on, that some of the women, the fertility rate dropped. And then the notable went to communicate with the ancestor. And then the ancestor asked them, how do you let the people, the foreigner, to come here and take what was like the symbol of your civilization? So we want that back. And lucky, Rockefeller, who was one of the richest men in the United States at that time, living in New York, he decided to accept the wish of the people of that village and then decide to send back the Afro-Akom pieces in Cameroon. And then when that pieces is very, very important. The pieces flew from New York to Cameroon in the 747 Boeing airplane. It was a major celebration. And then when the pieces get back in Cameroon, they went through all the ritual and everything, and then suddenly the fertility rate of the women went up, and then peace came back to the village. This is just to tell you how powerful are all the art pieces that we have. And then everything coming from our tradition, from our civilization, is very, very important for our children to know. And then to go back today that they have a chance to have access to the internet, to go and educate themselves, because each single piece is very, very important. See here, what I have here is the ebony pieces. Ebony is a very, very unique piece of wood. the only wood who is all black. There's a male ebony and then there's a female ebony. You will see a lot of prints of the king to have this. This is the way for them to announce themselves when they move in the community. Just the fact that they hold this, people will know who they are, because only prince and king can have that. So it's very, very important. And then one specific thing about these pieces also is that any bad evil will never go around this. That means if you are planning to do anything bad to the prince or the king, as long as the king has this with him, nothing is going to happen to him. So it's a very, very unique piece of art. And then this is how we say that Africa still have a lot of things that people don't understand. And then this is our own opportunity, to try to share whatever we know with our young generation, to let them understand how important it is for them to have a broad view of the importance of our culture and civilization.
Beautiful, beautiful, the prince. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard from the royal prince of the One Tikar kingdom, Prince Delaure, the visionary behind One Tikar One People. One Tikar One People. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to seeing you September 12, 13, and 14 right here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Brooklyn Park specifically. We will have a wonderful time displaying our art, our food, our fashion, our music. Learn about your story, understand who you are, reconnect with your roots. It is a time for us to come together to begin to heal the wounds that colonization brought to us. We heal and rise by lifting each other. There is power in us coming together. See you on the field. This is a free park event. We have free food for the first 100 people who arrive. And then grab your tickets for the gala night. We will be there. It goes down at the gala night. For our vendors who want to showcase their business, you need more customers. But first, customers need to know that you exist. You need the visibility. So this is how we bring everybody together so that you present what you have to potential customers and then you build your network from there. So I'm inviting you to go on our website, oneticaronepeople.org, and purchase your vendor tickets. One Tikar, One People!